Namaste and welcome everyone. We'll get started in just a few minutes at the top of the hour. I'm Ankur Patel, Director of Advancement for Hindu University of America, zooming in from Jamaica, Queens, New York. We have a few folks joining us so far. We'll give people another chance, a few minutes to join us. We've got Vaibhavji from Rancho Cordova in California. We've got Jaypati from Hartford, Kentucky. We've got Brenda from Assisi, Italy. We got William Fairchild from Massachusetts joining us. We've got Jose from Sarasota, Florida. We've got Ravi Shankarji from Bengaluru, India. Partha from Texas. Chiryaji from Sarasota, Florida. Mudita Tiwari from San Diego. Glad to have you all here with us today for our webinar. We'll get started shortly, and if you haven't yet, please put in the chat where you are zooming in from. To everyone for our webinar on Nyaya, the ancient science of reasoning. We've got maybe 40 people with us so far joining Dr. Kuldip Gehlot for this webinar. If you haven't yet, please put in the chat where you are zooming in from. We've got Shiv Jindalji from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, Rashik and Josnaji from Torrance, California, Sakyaji from Litchfield, UK, Venkaji from New Jersey, Vinod Guptaji from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for joining this webinar. Oh, a couple more people. Somnaji from Kingston, and Hari Ayerji from Santa Barbara. Welcome, welcome for our webinar on Nyaya, the ancient science of reasoning. And so I'll give a quick introduction to our webinar and then introduce our speaker, Dr. Kuldip Gehlot, and we'll get started. So the Nyaya Darshana of Gautama Rishi systematically delves deep into Nyaya, one of the 6 Vedic philosophies attributed to Gautama Rishi. Nyaya Darshana is extremely important because progress in any branch of knowledge cannot be made without a firm grasp on grammar and logic. Logic and grammar are the pillars of all subjects, and in this webinar, we'll give participants a glimpse into the ancient science of reasoning. And our speaker, our faculty, our special guest who is going to lead us today is Dr. Kuldip Gehlot, who has several master's degrees, one in English and one in philosophy, Sanskrit, and graphic design. He actually earned his doctorate in philosophy from Punjab University. He's taught around the world, including a journalism a course on Writers Bureau in United Kingdom, or did you just take that course? He's published several books, actually, one on the Yoga Vishishta of Valmiki, The Ultimate Iconoclast on the Philosophy of Rajneesh Osho, Emotion, The Essence of Life, Evolutionary Psychology, and the Yoga Sutram, translation from Sanskrit to English with the Vyasa Bhashya. So he's doing so many things, including making YouTube videos in English and in Hindi. He's been teaching Sanskrit through the Bhagavad Gita at Punjab University. He's been teaching at Hindu University of America, several different courses, and we are glad to have him with us today. So with that introduction, let me hand it over to Dr. Kuldip Gehlot to get us started on this webinar. Yeah, we can see, but now you need to unmute. There we go.
So I hope all of you can see the screen.
Yes.
Right. So I welcome everybody, Ankurji, other faculty of HUA, and all the participants. I'm happy people have joined from different parts of the world. I never had anybody join from Bethlehem and Assisi. This is nice to know that people from different parts of the world join this webinar. Okay, so let me begin straight away. We are going to study Nyaya Darshan. This is a webinar for a course which will begin in September, probably second week. And so this is to help you make up your mind what is Nyaya Darshan, what is Nyaya Philosophy, why should you study it. It's a very brief introduction to it. What is Nyaya? So in Sanskrit it said, Niyate vivakshitarthaha anen iti Nyaya. The process through which the true nature of something is decided is called Nyaya. So you can decide the nature of thing just by listening to somebody. There are a lot of people tell you this is what this is. For example, atom. Somebody tells you this is atom. Somebody tells you the earth goes around the sun. Somebody says it doesn't go around the sun. So you just listen to them and believe it. So that's one way of knowing things, but we call that dogma, because we are not reasoning. We are just accepting what someone else has said. But in Indian philosophy, the dogma is not there. You have to analyze everything, even if it's given by your guru, even if it's given by the Vedas. You shouldn't accept things just like that without examining them. So you must examine them, although what they say may be right, but still you should examine and also add to the knowledge. There's no point just parroting the same old thing for centuries. Otherwise, what's the difference? Now, if Vedas were written about 5,000 years ago, after 5,000 years, if I'm saying the same thing, what's the point? I should add something. We have matured since then, I hope. So we should try to make it contemporary. We should try to make all this ancient knowledge contemporary. And that's how it has survived for so many centuries. Can you believe it? This Nyaya Sutra was written at least 2,500 years back ago. And to this day, it has survived because people over the ages, they have, they kept on writing commentaries, kept on updating it, kept on polishing it. It's like you got a nice house in inheritance, but it's up to us to, keep it clean, to dust it, to, mop it, everything. And wherever repairs are required, we should. So that's what is there with text also. With time, we have to keep on updating it, making it fresh, so that even now it's relevant. Okay, so whenever you want to decide something, we all need knowledge. Now, but one is to accept from somebody, that's dogma. The other is the process through which the nature of something is ascertained. You decide, oh, this is what it is. And then, so that's Nyaya. This is what Gautam Rishi says. And there was a commentary on Nyaya Sutra written by Vatsyayana. Perhaps he's the Vatsyayana of Kama Sutra. I don't know. Kama Sutra was written by Vatsyayana. Perhaps Perhaps he is, or maybe he's someone else. I don't know. So he says, Pramanerartha Parikshanam Nyaya. To examine something through the process of knowing is called Nyaya. Now, to examine something through the instruments of knowledge. What are the instruments of knowledge? One simple thing is the five senses. We know, how do we know things? We know them through our five senses: eyes, nose, ears, tongue, skin. With these five things, we gain knowledge. Through eyes, we gain the knowledge of light and form. Through nose, we gain the knowledge of smell. Through ears, we gain the knowledge of sound. And through the tongue, we get the knowledge of taste. And through skin, we get the knowledge whether a thing is hard or soft, or if it is hot or cold. Such things we get. So these are the five instruments of knowledge. So when we arrive at a decision without using the instruments of knowledge, it will be called dogma. Without using these instruments, if we just believe something, it will be dogma. So Nyaya, how does it operate? It establishes your thesis and it answers the doubts raised by opponents. Whatever view you come up with, there will always be opponents, right? There's a saying that every philosopher has an equal and opposite philosopher. In this world, just like Newton's law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Somebody said every philosopher has an equal and opposite philosopher. So always there will be opponents trying to attack your philosophy, whatever you hold, and you should be able to answer them and see the uh, you know uh, weak points of their philosophy. And if they have strong points, we can take their strong points and enrich our own knowledge. So the oldest proponent is Maharshi Gautam. He is supposed to be the oldest. We don't know how, when he existed, no idea. Okay. It's among the six Astika Darshanas. There are two types of darshana, means philosophy. We are saying so. There are two types. One is called the Astika Darshanas, the one who take Vedas as their testimony, where they accept the authority of the Vedas. So they are called Astik. The other are called Gnostic philosophers. So in that we have the Charvakas, the materialist philosophers. See, even in India we had materialists. Don't think that everything in India is very spiritualistic. We had very strong atheistic and materialistic tradition. Jainas also don't believe in Atma, and so do the Buddha also. They do not believe in Paramatma or God. These three are classed as Astik. Sorry, these the Vedic ones are called Astik. These are called Nastik. In English, it's translated as Orthodox and Heterodox, but that's not the right translation. Astik means those who believe in Asti. Asti in Sanskrit, Asti means something which exists. So when you say Nasti, something that doesn't exist. Vedas say Atma exists. These others say that it doesn't. So that's why Astik Nastik. It has nothing to do with atheism or belief in God. Okay. So it's among the six. The others are, you have the Purv Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa, which is called Vedanta. And then we have Sankhya and Yoga. Some of you may have studied Sankhya at HUA or elsewhere. Then we have the Yoga philosophy. Then we have Nyaya and Vaisheshika. So these six are called the Astika philosophies. And this Nyaya is also called Nyaya philosophy, or Nyaya darshan is also called Gautamiya Shastra. Shastra means a text, and Gautamiya, because it was propounded by Gautama, so Gautamiya Akshapada Shastra. Gautam's another name was Akshapada. Aksha means eye, Pada means feet. They said he had eyes in his feet. So it means he took every step with great care because he examined everything. Akshapada Shastra. It's also called Nyaya Darshana. Pramana Shastra. Pramana is the instrument of knowledge, also called Tark Shastra, because you use logic, you argue. Hetu Vidya, it gives you, Hetu means the reason. It gives a reason of whatever you are arguing. Vada Vidya, Vada means to discuss things with the other, to debate. So it's used in that. And Anvikshi means analysis, analyze it. In the beginning of the 20th century, in Europe, we had what is called the analytical philosophers. Among them, we had Bertrand Russell, Wittgenstein, and many others, Carnap, and G.E. Moore. So they were the analytical philosophers. Like these, they believed in logic. So they did a lot of work in logic, and they said everything must be examined logically. The question is, why should we study Nyaya? Is my audio clear to everybody? I hope it's clear. Okay. All right. So, Kanadam Paniniyam cha Sarvashastropakarikam. Kanada was a sage who, who gave us Vaisheshik Darshana, the Vaisheshik philosophy, which is a twin of Nyaya philosophy. They are studied together. Okay, so, by Kanadam is of Kanada, the logic of Kanada, and Panini, you know, they wrote the great Ashtadhyayi. So because it was his Shastra, so Paniniyam. So the logic of Kanada and the grammar of Panini, Sarva Shastropada, they are an aid to the study of all sciences, of all disciplines. Without these two, you just can't manage at all. So whatever you want to study, whether it's history, literature, mathematics, physics, science, philosophy, music, whatever. First of all, you should have language. Language, you should. Otherwise, how will you understand what's being said? And how will you make yourself understood if your language is not correct? Language is extremely important. And then also logically. I may speak a grammatically correct sentence, but it may be illogical. You ask me, where are you? So I'll say, oh, I am at home and I am not at home. Right? Now, this is grammatically perfect. There's nothing wrong in this sentence, but it's illogical. I can't be at home and not at home at the same time. So that's why both should be perfect. You may have seen there are many great writers whose language is perfect, but what they write is all rubbish because there is no logic in that. So they write because they have a way with words, but they don't write logically. So these two are extremely important, and I would request you, anybody who wants to enter into any subject, please perfect your grammar and also your logic. Without that, you won't understand anything. Neither you'll understand, not only Indian, even the rest of the world, any subject you'll not understand without these two. And if you want to understand Indian philosophy, especially Vedic philosophy, you must have some fair understanding of Sanskrit grammar and also logic. These two are important. For this class, it's not necessary for you to know Sanskrit, but it will help. If you know, I would urge you to take up some course. HUED does offer many courses for beginners, and Ankurji might tell later, or you can visit this site. Please, slowly, and you'll love the language, and then you'll also start understanding what's being said. Okay, we should study Nyaya because through Nyaya, we can get right knowledge. Right? Why do we need right knowledge? Why do we need right knowledge? Because according to Vedic philosophies, all our miseries originate from wrong knowledge. See, each one of us has some problem or the other. I doubt anybody in this world is 100% happy. Some problem is there, either physical or mental or financial or with colleagues or in the family itself. Somewhere there is some problem or the other. Is there a way out? And first of all, we should know why those problems are there. According to Vedic philosophies, It's because of wrong knowledge. All our problems are because we are seeing things wrongly. Wrong identification. Everybody has a fear of death. Everybody fears disease. Everybody fears old age. Why? Because we think this body is, I think I am the body. So naturally, the body is going to grow old. So I'm going to not feel very happy about it. And if it falls ill again, I'll be not happy. And I know one day this body is going to end. That fear is always, like a sword hanging on my head, on a thin thread. Anytime death might come, right? So they say this fear, all this is because of seeing things wrongly, because of understanding things wrongly. So this wrong knowledge creates misery. So suppose our misery is because of wrong knowledge. What do you think would be the antidote? What would be the antidote of wrong knowledge? Some of you may interact if possible.
And I don't. Reggie or Brenda, what do you think?
Well, the remedy to wrong knowledge is right knowledge. Simple as that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. So if it is accepted that my misery is because of wrong knowledge, so then the antidote would be right knowledge. So that's very simple. If my problems are lack of money, then the solution would be to have money, right? But we know that even after having money, people are miserable all over the world. In fact, I would say they are as miserable, sometimes more miserable than poor people. So that we don't understand. I can understand the poor people are miserable because they don't have enough food, they don't have. But why are rich miserable? Why are they miserable? They have all the money. And if you go to these ashrams of Indian Babas, Indian sadhus, you will find most of them are rich people. Multi-millionaires, billionaires go to them. Why should they go to these people? Why? So that means there is some problem. All the wealth hasn't given them. Something is missing there. Okay? All right. Now the question is, how do we gain any kind of knowledge? Forget about right knowledge. Each one of us, we do gain knowledge, don't we? Even animals, insects, they also gain knowledge. They don't know logic. They also gain knowledge. They find food. They know what food is good for them, what is bad for them. They know it's day, when to sleep, when to wake up, they know. So we do get. Now, how do we get knowledge? Through the instruments of knowledge. There are the instruments of knowledge. So from there, we'll come to that shortly. We'll be studying Nyaya Sutra. Nyaya is the science of reasoning. Nyaya. In India, it's also, courts are also called Nyaya. Nyayalaya. Court. Also, the judge is called Nyayadhisha. So Nyaya means because they were there, they listen to both the arguments. There is some dispute. So these, both parties have their own lawyers and they argue it through reason. And so that's why that's also called Nyaya. So here it's just making the right judgment. So this is called Nyaya. Sutra is a form of literature, just like your shlokas, you have karikas. Same way your sutras. Sutras are extremely brief. They are not written in meter. Shlokas and karikas are written, they are set to meter, but sutra is not set to meter. Usually sutras do not have helping verbs and verbs. They avoid, it has to be extremely short. So this Nyaya Sutra has 5 chapters. The total number of sutras is 528. Okay. Now in this we get in one, one session, we get 11 classes. And so we'll be doing only the first 2 ahanikas of the first chapter. We'll take the first chapter. The first chapter is divided into 2 sub-chapters called ahanika. Ahan means a day. So ahanika means something what the rishi must have taught in a day or written in a day. in one day, whatever, how many sutras he may have written, so that one anika, or may have taught to his students. So there are two anikas. So effectively, the first one has 41 sutras, the second has 20 sutras. In all, 61 sutras. We can't finish 61 in 11 classes, so it will be 11 plus 11. There will be part 2 of it, and the details will be given to you later. So in the first part, we'll do roughly half of this, say 30 sutras we do, then in the next. These will be taught in 2 parts of 11 classes each. Okay. Now this logic is of 2 types. One is called Prachin Nyaya. Prachin means ancient. Ancient Nyaya, classic, or you can call it classical Nyaya. This was propounded by Gautam Rishi and others. However, in the 12th century, there was a great logician called Gangesha Upadhyaya. He made a lot of contribution to logic, and after that, Navya Nyaya started. That is neo-logic, new logic. So this was the modern logic started in the 12th century. That's about 1,000 years back. We'll be studying only the classical Nyaya based on the Nyaya Sutras of Gautam. Straight away, you can't, if you go to Navya Nyaya, it will be difficult to understand. This classical Nyaya is enough for us. Unless you want to become a logician, then you have to study both. But if your purpose is only to study the Upanishad, the Gita, and some other things properly, then this ancient Nyaya will do, okay, to begin with. And we'll take the help of Vatsyayana's commentary on the Nyaya Sutra. In this, the knowledge of Sanskrit is not a must. If you don't know a word of Sanskrit, it's okay, no problem. Slowly you'll learn a few words, and that's how everything I'll be translating. Every time I give you a PDF like this, every lesson will have a PDF like this with Sanskrit, and also transliteration into Latin. Not Latin, sorry, Roman in Roman letters. So if you can't read the Devanagari, you can read the sutras if you're interested in that. And all the word meaning will be given, notes, everything will be given. Plus I'll share a lot of other reading material with you. So you don't really have to buy any book. But if you're interested, you may. But initially, for this class, you don't have to buy anything. Everything. So now let's see how knowledge of things around us, how we gain the knowledge around us and even beyond us. We gain knowledge even of things which are not near us. So how we do that? First of all, Pramana means an instrument of knowledge. As I said, we have the 5 senses, so through which we learn about things. Now let's take only the case of eyes here. Now here is this person, here is this flower. How do you gain the knowledge, right? So now I want the knowledge of the color and shape of this flower. So I need eyes, right? And if I want to know about smell, then I would need the nose. To keep things simple, we'll only talk about eyes. I want to know the color and shape of this flower, or how many flowers are there, 1 or 2 or 3. So it's the eyes which will tell me that there is a flower over there, and it'll tell me it's red, and it'll tell me about its shape. It has so many petals, things like that. So the eyes are called pramana, the instrument of knowledge about the form and shape. Eyes are the pramana. And the object to be known is called prameya. The object which I want to know is prameya. Now this is a flower. The conclusion that this is a flower is called knowledge. That is called jnana. Brahma is also called Brahma or Jnana. Right? You have these eyes. Through eyes, you know some object. So eyes are called Pramana, and Prameya is the object to be known, and the resultant knowledge is called Brahma or Jnana. Let's say there's a flower here. Let's say the eyes are also here, everything, but still nothing will happen if this Pramata is absent, if the knower is not there. Now you'll say the eyes are there, this guy is here. No, the instrument, the antakarana. So for example, you are listening to me, but if say if one of you, is thinking about something else. Let's say there's an emergency at home, somebody is serious in hospital. So although you are in this class, your mind will be occupied somewhere else, right? So whatever I'm saying may not really register in your mind. This is also equally important. Even if there is a flaw, even if your eyes are perfect, everything still knowledge will not happen if the knower inside you is occupied elsewhere. So your presence is this. All the three should be there. Your eyes should be perfect. See, if you're a blind man, somebody is blind, then they'll not know the color of the flower and the shape, they won't know. So everything should be perfect. The instrument should be perfect. There should be something over there, because and the knower should be present. So these are the Pratyaksha of five. These are called direct sense perceptions, the sense organs. That's one way we come to know. Okay. Pratyaksha means direct sense perception. To cognize a thing with one or more sense organs. This is called Pratyaksha. Most of us use this a lot, but this is just 1% of what we use. Believe me. We think we use our sense organs, all our knowledge. No, it's not even 1%. I'll tell you how. Next is Anumana, which means inference. To see the roads and buildings, trees on the ground wet. When you get up in the morning, you see all these roads round, everything wet. So what do you infer? You infer that it must have rained last night. Although you were sleeping, you didn't see it rain, but so this is inference. This is not direct knowledge through the senses, but it's you infer because your experience says that now if everything is wet, part of it is wet, you want to say, but everything, roads are wet, trees are wet, buildings are wet, there are pools of water everywhere, so you will conclude that it must have rained last night. Or when you see dark clouds and a cool breeze, so you will say it's going to rain, right? So again, this is also inference. Then you also get knowledge through upamana. Upamana is comparison. So let's say there is something, everybody knows what a horse is, right? So I ask, say I have a friend, I say, please get me a mule. And he will ask, what is a mule? I've never seen a mule. So I'll say, well, it's like a horse. It looks like a horse. So then this guy goes to the stable and he sees something which is like a horse and he gets it from me. Now this is by comparison. Okay. Sometimes we do get knowledge like that. So through comparison also. Then arthapati is through connection. Without, like rain, streets wet, and the clouds, there is a connection, cause and effect. So from clouds I can infer it's going to rain, or from wet ground I infer it must have rained. But every time there's no causal connection. Sometimes without a causal connection, I infer, I get some knowledge. For example, there are you go to somebody's house and you ask for a friend, is she in? They say she's not in, so you automatically conclude she must be out, right? So but there's no causal connection here, but you can, that's called arthapatya. Then important one is shabda pramana, verbal testimony of a trusted source, right? This we get a lot of knowledge through this. Most of our knowledge of science, of history, everything comes from books. We have not seen those things. How many of you are scientists here with a science background? I mean, there must be some in this gathering of 65. So there must be at least 30 to 40%. Scientists believe, you believe, I'm sure, forget even non-scientists, those who are not scientists, you all believe that Earth goes around the sun. Anybody who doesn't believe in this? Anybody in this gathering doesn't believe in this? All right, so one of your answer. Now, have you gone in some rocket, or have you gone to some other planet and checked from there whether the Earth is going around the sun or not? Did you check? Can you check? But still you believe. That is because of Shabda Pramana. Verbal testimony of a trusted source, not any Tom, Dick and Harry. All the scientists, Galileo says so, Newton says so, others say so. So then you say, oh, okay, it must be. I can't check, but I have to believe. That's called Shabda Pramana. Now, believe me, I think 90% of our knowledge comes through this Shabda Pramana. You go to buy a single tablet or anything, even a food item, you just have no way to know whether it's good or not. You just see the store or that restaurant, who is selling it, and you just trust the person. Or if that medicine is certified by WHO, so you have more faith in that. If somebody else gives you better medicine but it has no label, you'll probably not buy it, although it's a better medicine. So 90% of our knowledge comes through Shabda Pramana. 90%. Who, that family lineage, who my father, mother, all these things, this is all Shabda Pramana. Okay, nowadays you have DNA, maybe you can check. But what I'm saying is most of the knowledge comes through Shabda Pramana. Okay. Now we have to use, every time we cannot use the five senses. For everything we can't use the five senses. Most of the things are beyond the scope of the five senses, so we have to use other methods to gain knowledge. In India, there was the materialists called Charvaks. They believed only in sense perception. They say we will not believe in anything else. Anything which cannot be caught by the five senses, we will not accept. So they don't accept God, they don't accept Atma, they don't accept rebirth, they don't accept anything. Whatever, anything that cannot be seen by, perceived by the five senses, the Charvak people don't accept. So then we have the Sankhya philosophy. They accept three: Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. They accept three. Nyaya accepts Upamana also. Upamana is, I told you, comparison. But different philosophies accept different. Vedanta accepts six. They accept Abhava also as a Pramana. Abhava means absence. Absence is also Pramana. Now you may ask, how can I gain knowledge through absence? Right? How can? So Vedanta says yes, absence. Through absence also you gain knowledge. For example, you go home. There are say five members, and you remember you look at all of them, but you see your sister is not at the table. So you say, "Oh, where is my sister?" So because she's not there, so her absence. There is absence of the sister there, but what does it prove? Suppose I'm a new guy in the family. What does it prove to me? What knowledge do I gain? When this guy is saying, my sister, hey, where's my sister? Why she's not at home? So I gain the knowledge that this guy has a sister. Right? So even absence of something. Why didn't he say, where is my why my great grandfather is not here? Why my great grand uncle is not there? Because they are not part of the family, immediate family. So this one he asked only for that. So where is my sister? So Abhava also, it gives you knowledge of something. Got it? These are the six pramanas. In some tantra and others, they accept more. Shaivism and all, they go to 7, 8, 9, 10 Pramanas also. But Vedanta accepts so many. Nyaya accepts only 4. 1, 2, 3, Pramana and Shabda. It's not that they don't accept others. They say these can be subsumed in Anumana. Arthapatti, they say we subsume it in Anumana. Upmana also, it can come under this. So they say there's no need to, we have to keep the assumptions as few as possible. There's a reason why Vedanta accepts 6. So this is not a class of Vedanta. Whenever there's an occasion, we'll talk about it. Now, everything has to be known through these Pramanas. Tell me, can you know yourself through these Pramanas? This is just a thought, okay? Whether to know you exist, do you need your eyes, nose, etc., or do you have to infer that you exist, or do you need some kind of a comparison, or you need some Vedas or a science textbook to tell you that you exist? Well, think about that. Now let's go to the principles of Nyaya. Gautama begins by listing 16 padarthas of Nyaya. It begins by 16 padartha. Anybody knows the meaning of padartha? Here? What is padartha? Anybody? Fairly common word. Many Indian languages other than Sanskrit also use the word padartha. Okay, owner.
Oh, we have the audience adding.
Oh, what are they saying?
Ramki says atom, Ketanji says elements, Somnathji says substance, Hariji says ingredient, Manikanji says particle.
All right. Yeah, but
word meaning.
What they're saying is something which is material, right? Something like matter. Can we call all these things matter? Whatever different things, particle, substance. So generally in common language, even in India and those who speak Hindi and other languages, for padartha they mean matter. Ye kya padarth hai? What is this padartha? Right? So, but that's not the meaning here. That's a distorted meaning. That's not the right meaning. Padartha means, pada means word of language. Artha is what that word stands for. Okay, so anything that can be expressed using a word is called padartha. All right. So this has to be very clear, because see, he's talking about there are the 16 avyavas. Say pramana, prameya, sanshaya. Prameya, now you know, prameya, things to be known. Pramana is instrument of knowledge. Sanshaya means doubt, when you're not clear about a thing. So is this matter? Is sanshaya matter? It's not matter, it's not a particle, nothing. Prayojan means your objective, why you want to do this. Drishtanta means when you give an example. So there are all different things. So most of them are not at all, nothing to do with matter. But still they are padartha because we have a word for them and they stand for something. So you must remember this clearly. In Indian philosophy, padartha does not mean matter alone. It may be, the word may be used for matter, but anything, even love is a padartha, even hatred is padartha, anything, confusion, whatever, anything you name it, whatever you can name, that's called padartha. Right? So in this, the first padartha was pramana, the second is prameya. Pramana we have seen, pramana are the 5 instruments of 5 sense organs, and the other, I said, inference. Then Upamana was comparison, and Shabda Pramana is testimony. Through these, we come to know 12 Prameyas. Prameyas means the objects or things to be known. Through these Pramana, we come to know about 12 Prameyas, 12 things to be known. Now, actually, there are millions and billions of things in this world. Right? But the most essential for us are 12. So first is Atma. Atma here means the conscious self, the Jiva Atma. It doesn't mean that other Atma, the universal Atma. Atma means the individual self, Sharira, body, Indriya, sense organs, Artha, objects known by the sense organs, Buddhi, intellect, Mana, mind, Pravritti, that karma that we do, each one of us does some karma. Dosha, dosha is liking for something, and aversion for something else. In all our life, it goes in this. We want something and we want to get rid of something, or we don't want something. And sometimes when we get something we want to get rid of it after a while. So it's a big problem all the time. So this is called dosha. Then Pratya Bhava, rebirth. Vedic philosophies, they believe in rebirth, that with this, your individual self doesn't die with this body, it takes another birth. Phala is the result of karma. Dukkha means sukha and dukkha both. Life is a mix of joy and happiness. Many people say life is misery, total misery. Had life been total misery, we would have committed suicide. We wouldn't have lived. It's not total misery. There are some nice moments also. Those things don't let us die. Right? Commit suicide. And finally, Apavarga. Apavarga is moksha. These are the 5 things which this Shastra will teach you. And believe me, the ultimate goal of this Nyaya Shastra is not to win an argument. It's not to prove your point. It's not to make you, because logical people are considered very intelligent, it's not to make you appear intelligent among others. What's the ultimate goal, do you think? Can you even guess? The ultimate goal is moksha. Freedom, total and permanent freedom from suffering. Okay? It's not happiness. Happiness is always mixed. Moksha is total freedom. Can you become free of everything? This is the, can you believe it? Even a discipline like logic in the Vedic, this one is meant for moksha. Even grammar, you read Panini's grammar, that's also meant for moksha. Because you study grammar properly, you can study the Shastras, you can understand what's being said. Ultimate goal is moksha. Of course, Vedanta and Sankhya, their goal is moksha, no doubt. And you won't believe it, even the goal of Kama Sutra is moksha. Ultimate goal of Kama Sutra is also moksha. He writes it in the very first shloka. This is not just for physical enjoyment. The ultimate goal of that is also moksha. Right? How to use this? Now, I'll give just one example. Now, you want to know what Atma is, the individual self. Now, you want to decide whether a thing has individual self or not, the Jivatma or not. So, why this question arises is because many people say, robots can perform many actions. Robots can do many things, sometimes better than us. They see, they sense, they hear. Now tell me, now there's a doubt. Are they conscious or not? Are they conscious or not? There is a chess program called Deep Blue. I'm talking about 30 years back. Now I'm sure they have much better chess programs. That chess program could defeat grandmasters, could play chess with grandmasters. The computer would play chess with grandmasters. You know how complex the game of chess is. I want to know, what do you think? These robots and what you call artificial intelligence, do these things have Atma or not? You please respond. And what do you say? See, they can think, sorry, they can see, they can hear, they also think, because when you make a chess move, they think and they come up with a counter move. So they are also, we call them thinking machines. But do they have Atma or not? Any answer? Anybody? At least in chat. Any answer in chat? I can't. Where is the chat? Ankurji, anybody has responded in chat?
She says, no, they don't. Yeah, I think the consensus is looking like no. Everything in this world has consciousness. So maybe, says Manikanchi. Ketan V says yes and no. They have Chetna, but not soul.
Who has Chetna? The computer has Chetna, consciousness. Okay. So let's see how
The
Nyaya,
consensus is no, though. The more folks are saying
no.
no. Yeah,
Okay. All
not
right.
consensus.
But now let's use the method of Nyaya Sutra of Gautama, and see whether computers can have consciousness. So anything to have consciousness, what does it say? This must have these qualities. It must have ichha. Ichha means desire. Dvesha. Dvesha is to not like something. Aversion. Pratna. Pratna means effort, to make an effort on its own. And then the experience of sukha dukkha. Bhoga. That's called bhoga. Bhoga means to experience sukha dukkha, and knowledge, jnana. Now tell me, computers, do they have knowledge or not? Right? Maybe they have more knowledge than us. Google has a lot more knowledge than us, right? So this, I think everybody will say computers have knowledge. Okay, one point. Now tell me, do they have desires? Do these robots have their own desires? Do robots hate anybody? Aversion? Do robots say, I don't want to do this work? You are asking the robot to do something. Does the robot ever say, I don't want to do it? Or I want to do it? Does it make effort on its own? And whatever it does, do you think the robot feels happy or sad about something? If you make it work 1 more hour, does it become sad? Or if you give it a day off, does it become happy? I think, Kankurji, what is it, no for these, or are some saying yes for these? This, of course, I
Most
understand.
are leaning towards no. Chiraya G says hopefully not, citing 2001 Space Odyssey. It has information in binary format, but not knowledge. No desire, aversion from Manoj G.
Okay, fine.
Let me
So,
unmute somebody who wants to talk. Do you want to hear from somebody?
yeah.
All right, there you go. Quickly, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
My name is Venkat.
Venkat.
The other person said 2000 Space Odyssey, there is a fiction of a robot having feelings and also a fear that it may be destroyed. So it has got it has desire. Even it's a fiction, but nowadays artificial intelligence is going in that direction. So a robot with all this can be created, but will it be complete as human being as far as creativity? We don't know.
No,
But
no, I'm
as
not
of
talking
now,
about creativity. I'm not talking about creativity. They may be more creative. I'm just talking about, do they have desires? Do they have aversion? Do they make efforts on their own? Do they enjoy what they're doing? Or do they hate what they're doing something? Okay,
but
these days those emojis, emojis are there. You have that famous Alexa these days. So if you tell Alexa, Alexa, thank you, so she feels happy. If you say, Alexa, you're very beautiful, she says, oh, thanks. She behaves like a woman, and tries to give an answer like that. But all those reactions are fed by they are fed into it by the computer, the language, those program writers. It's not Alexa who is answering. It's all that thing is fed like a cheat sheet, that if somebody asks you this question, you give this answer. Somebody asks you this question, you give this, like that. So if somebody asks Alexa, Alexa, I want to marry you. So she says, oh, I don't know you enough. Give me some time to think. Now, so they're trying to make it like human. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, at least this is a starting point. If you, all these things should be there. Only then a thing will be said to have a jivatma, according to according to Nyaya Darshan, right? What others say we don't know, but I'm telling you how this, it's a very practical darshana. Anyway, logic means for practical reasons. So that's how you determine what is mind, what is intellect, what is all those 16 padarthas we mentioned. So each one we'll go through in the class, each one will be discussed, and it'll give you a clarity of how to argue. See, most of us do argue. Intuitively we argue, and most of us are, you can say, born logicians. And Indians are supposed to be quite argumentative. And Amartya Sen wrote a book called the Argumentative Indian. Okay, so we do, but the thing is, we sometimes don't see our own faults. When I propose and come up with an argument, I don't see my own where the weakness is, and the other guy who sees can always attack that and defeat me. At the same time, I should be able to see the weakness in other person's argument. So that can be done only if you have a thorough grounding of knowledge, right? Now, so just briefly, Western logic, how it operates. Started, the father, Western logic is Aristotle, right? He's father of so many things: physics, logic, poetics, everything. Every branch of knowledge in the West, if you dig it, at the bottom you'll find Aristotle. Okay, so his argument was three-step syllogistic argument. See, all men are mortal. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is immortal. You don't have to think now. It follows from the first two, right? Socrates is, all men are mortal. Socrates is man, so therefore Socrates is mortal. So in this logic, they are not worried about they are only worried about the form. That the conclusion should follow automatically from the first two. Right? Now suppose I turn it around and say, all men are immortal, that means they don't die. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates is immortal. Now tell me, is this argument correct or not? Is this argument correct or not?
Somnachi, Chiryaji, Manoji say correct. If you want to say something, you can raise your hand in the participant window and I can quickly unmute you, but please be quick if you are going to do that. Yeah, we're getting a lot of folks saying yes. Tumiji says incorrect though. Chandranji says yes. Manikanchi says yes.
Why incorrect? Why incorrect? I would like to know.
Tumiji, I can unmute you if you'd
Why
like
incorrect?
to share.
Unmute yourself, maybe.
Yes, I said that it's incorrect because Socrates is not immortal. He's still mortal at the end of the day.
Okay, he's dead. Socrates is dead, so is Aristotle. Yeah, you're right. It's incorrect. See, but Aristotle says the argument is valid. In Western logic, there's no incorrect or correct argument. It's either valid or invalid, right? So this, although in truth it's not right, because Socrates died one day, and all men, as far as I know, are mortal. So this argument, they say, is a valid argument, although it is not truthful. So in this, it is valid argument. Okay, got it? Similarly, you can have all men have wings. Socrates is a man, therefore Socrates has wings. So you can apply. Now this is, it's not true, but it's a valid argument because it follows from this. So in Western argument, they are only interested in the form of the argument, not the content of the argument. Indian logic, Nyaya Sutra, is a 5-step. They have added 2 more to avoid this kind of, conclusion. 5-step for this. Now, when you look at a fire on a mountain, what do you say? There's a fire on, not fire. When you look at smoke on the mountain from a distance, You're not seeing the fire, but what do you think? All right. So then you conclude there is a fire on the mountain. Now, this is called pratigya. This is your thesis. You state this first. Hey, look at that. There's a fire on the mountain. You look at the place and they say, I don't see any fire. I only see smoke. Then he says, give me the reason. You say, ask him, give me the reason. And the guy says, because there is smoke on the mountain. Okay, he's giving the reason. Hetu. Hetu means reason. Second. Third, now he has to give an example that wherever there is smoke, there is fire. As in the kitchen. Because in the kitchen, when there is fire, I see smoke there. So, as in the kitchen. Now, again, you re examine. Now, you see there is a smoke on the mountain. Therefore, there is fire on the mountain. You have to repeat the first one again. Therefore, there is a fire on the mountain. Now, here, suppose you put Socrates here. Same if you apply for Socrates. Say Socrates is immortal. This is your thesis, correct? Now, what's the second one? You have to give the reason. Because there is smoke. So you have to say, because all men are immortal, correct? Now here you will get stuck. Number 3 is example. You have to give an example. You have to show me one man who is immortal. Can you show me? Can you show me one person who is immortal? You have to give me an example. Can you show me even one? What are they saying, Ankurji?
Like, yeah, what do you mean? Of course not.
Okay, so your argument is rubbish, because if you can't give an example of something, Indian logic says, come on, you are just doing this brain exercise, you are just hair splitting. It has, your argument has no, until you can show us an example, we'll not go further at all. This is you're thrown out of the, out of the classroom. So that's the reason why it's 5 types. 5 types of arguments. And as I said, the ultimate goal of all this is to, because if you know all these padarthas well, you can get moksha. This is the ultimate goal of Nyaya, and we'll show. It will prove. See, Atma, there is a lot of debate about Atma. Some say there is Atma, some say there is no Atma. Because in Indian, this one, Vedics, they say Atma is what? Immortal, correct? Atma doesn't change. Atma never dies. It is never born. Just saying is not enough. You have to prove it. And you have to give an example also. See, that's where you get stuck. Just by giving the characteristics of Atma is not enough. You have to give me an example. Show me. Let me see in my life whether there is something called Atma. Yeah. And that, if that's not done, then you are just talking, out of a hat. We will not believe that. So this is the brief. This is a brief introduction to Nyaya Sutras. I hope this has interested you. Now you may ask, you may discuss or ask questions or whatever.
Great. No, that was very interesting, and I love the back and forth. Let me just launch a quick poll. Just let us know if you're interested in this course. Yes, maybe you have questions later or no. And we do have some questions from the audience. And if you have questions, put them in the Q&A box and we'll try and get to them. Arun Jain is asking, how do you categorize the knowledge that is self-realized into one of these 6 categories? In other words, how is Shruti, that which is heard, categorized?
Shruti is Shabda Pramana. It's the 5th one, because Shruti was. What has happened?
I just stopped sharing because we're answering questions.
Okay, that's good. Shruti is, that is the Vedas. Now, they were heard. Shruti means to hear. Shrotra means ear. So Shruti is something that's heard. So these rishis when they were in deep meditation, they heard some eternal truths. So that's why they say Vedas were not written by anybody, they were heard. And so that is in the sixth Pramana. What is written in the Vedas? So it must be true because it's heard by these rishis. But then again, let me stress, although something is written in the Vedas, you should not accept it blindly without cross-examining and without checking. There is a Adi Shankaracharya. You won't believe the following quotation is from him. Adi Shankaracharya, most of you know, was a great what do you say, thinker, great writer, great philosopher, who who put new life into Hinduism about 1500 years ago. And he was a Vedanti and so many other things also. So he was a great believer of Vedas, correct? Because anybody in the Astik Darshana has to accept Vedas. Now he says, this is in the Gita Bhashya, in his commentary which he wrote on the Gita. So he says, even if 1000 Vedas say that fire doesn't burn, correct? The fire does not burn. Suppose 1000 Vedas say fire doesn't burn, but your experience says that fire burns, right? Because whenever you put hand in the fire, it burns. When you put some cloth there, it burns. He says, in that case, forget the Vedas, go by what your experience says, right? Although a thing may be said in the Vedas, you should examine it yourself. But then he also says in the next shloka, if there is something in the Vedas which goes counter to your experience, it doesn't match with your experience, at that time, before rubbishing the Vedas, you think maybe you're not understanding what the Veda is saying properly. Give Veda a chance. Go to a guru and ask, what is this? I don't understand. It's totally, beyond my common sense. So please explain this to me. So before saying it's, attacking it, you also think maybe you're not understood what the Veda is. So that is the Veda. It's the Shruti, and in the Vedic, this one you accept it. You may not understand it, but you give it a benefit of the doubt. Okay, if the Veda says it must be right. Just as say the book of written by Newton, there's something may not agree with you, but because Newton is Newton, so you just accept it and learn enough. Okay, one day you can challenge Newton if you're that big a physician. I mean, not physician, a physicist. And then you can probably come up with a better theory than what Newton gave. But at that stage, you can do, not in the beginning. That's what this is. It comes under Vedas, come under the Shabda Pramana.
The course in the chat, you can find course description and some more through that link. It's going to be every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, starting October 12th. We have a lot more questions. We're going to try and go through them. Somnachi is asking, can intuition be accepted as Pramana?
Yes, we do accept it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It is accepted. In fact, most of the, you won't believe it, most of the great inventions have taken place because of intuition.
Yeah.
The structure of the atom was got in a dream, right? They got the structure of the atom in a dream. And these days you have this Oppenheimer movie. Some of you may have, seen it. There also, most of the formulas that he got, that is intuition. Ultimately, it's intuition takes place. Most poets, their poetry comes out of intuition. It just comes. Most of the poets, you can't ask them to write, come on, write a poem now. Can you demand? No. The poem arrives at the right time. It just happens. That is intuition. Most of the things are intuition. We actually think intuition is, some kind of just, people don't believe in intuition. Intuition is extremely useful. When you're solving some problem for years, you may be solving a problem, you won't get an answer. Then you give up solving it. Suddenly the answer comes from somewhere. I'm telling you, everything happens intuitively. I'm speaking to you now. Do you think I've written everything down, or words are just coming? From where they're coming, I don't know. Sometimes even I get, I'm also surprised at what I say. So it happens like that. Intuition is you you know because we are so intellectualized, we have killed intuition, most of us. But in the olden days, some of your grandmothers and great grandmothers, they could tell many things. They were not much educated, but they could tell things. Oh, today something bad is going to happen, and most of the time you got some bad news. They say somebody is going to visit us today. They could many things. So intuition you can't just dismiss as something immature or okay.
Go through them. Chakravarti Ji, Mohanji is asking, often we need question that is cited as truth by reliable sources. Yeah, zero began to be used first in which country? Like, okay, that's fine. We kind of got into that. I'm gonna go through that. Can love be a way of knowing? Somnaji is asking. Can love be a way of knowing? Interesting idea.
You can know only through love. Even if you're a logician, you should have love for logic. If you are a physicist, if you don't have love for physics, how can you come up with good theories? Most of these people are so much in love with their subject. Say a mathematician, day and night they keep solving that. Isn't that love? If you force them to do, they'll not come up with good theories. Most good inventors or those who have come up with something new, they are not the see. Most of the time what happens now, we after school, when we take up a profession or a subject, we do it because it's in demand, it'll give us more money, or everybody else is peer pressure is there. Everybody wants to be a doctor, so even if this guy or this girl, they even if they don't want to be a doctor, they are forced to study hard and take that side. They don't love it, but so is such a doctor, do you think will do justice to the to patients who is there just because parents forced her to be? No, only the person who went out of love, yes, I want to study this subject, only then you will really enjoy it. Now if you want to join this class, I hope you'll join because you love logic, not because of course nobody can force you, not under some kind that way. So only love is the major ingredient for anything. If you have no love for a subject, please don't study it just because others are studying. Don't do that. Don't torture yourself, because you'll only torture others. If I don't love music, and if I'm forced to learn music just because my parents want to show that I am cultured, so they send me to a teacher, I learn something, so my music will only torture you, and it will torture me also most. Better not. Always go what you love. In Gita, Krishna says that follow your nature. Do It is better to die doing the thing you love. Better to be unsuccessful in doing something. If you love music, you take up music, even if you may not become a great musician, because everybody doesn't get recognition, but you'll have that satisfaction that I'm doing what I love. On the contrary, if you do something which you don't love, that's why there's a lot of dissatisfaction, work dissatisfaction. There was a survey conducted. They say 98% of people are in wrong jobs, and 98% are miserable because they are in the wrong profession. They are not happy with their profession. They chose the wrong profession. So you have to choose the right profession.
Right, choose the right thing to study. And so that's why Hindu University of America is offering such a range of courses, including this one with Dr. Deeman. We still have a few more questions. Let's try to go through them quickly. Are you going to teach Vaisheshika Darshana as well?
No, not in this, although Vaisheshika is related to Nyaya, but we don't have the time to do. What I would suggest is this Darshana is study this first, and then you send send your emails to HUA that you would like to study Vaisheshika also, then they'll consider. I'm sure they will consider. But because if
Yeah.
you do too many things together, you'll get confused. Suppose Vaisheshika and do them together, you'll get confused. So it's better to. That's why even new logic. That also I'm saying, no, first begin with this. Nyaya Sutras, they're very compact, very method. They have a right method. You do with that, and if you really love it, then we'll see. Maybe you can start a course on Vaisheshika also.
Yes, that's exactly how not exactly, but that's how a lot of our courses have started. Mankita
Yeah.
ji is asking kind of two questions. Does intuition come as a help from the self? And does Nyaya prove subtle body and causal body, which are not visible because ultimate aim is moksha?
Yes, now this question of intuition is, we don't know from where it comes. It obviously comes from your subtle body and maybe even the current Sharira beyond that. Because please remember this, we believe that our experience is not only of this life. Many lives have gone by. Now, for example, you may have studied so many things in so many lives. You may have studied, and all that cumulative thing is there in you. And at the right time, it just emerges and it helps you. Only if you let it emerge. We are in these days, in the age of computers, we are blocking that thing. In the age of reason, because we rely so much on reason, we block intuition. We don't let it happen. And even if it happens, we ignore it. So if we allow it to happen, then intuition will certainly help us.
Logic.
What myth? MYTH.
Myth. Yeah. Is there logic behind myth? What is the myth of logic? Logic of myth?
No, I didn't follow the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Myth
So
of
Roseanne,
logic.
yeah, does myth have a different logic? Is what she wrote out. The
Could
idea
you
of
give an
myth.
example?
Okay, Roseanne, if you want to type in something else, go to somebody else. Venkaji is asking, what is the high level difference between Nyaya and Vedanta?
Okay. Their ultimate goal is the same. First thing. What's common between them? Their ultimate goal is moksha, correct? Vedanta also talks about moksha and Nyaya also talks about moksha. I'm telling you, I've told you already, Vedanta uses a lot of logic. Vedanta is full of logic. And if you read Shankaracharya's Bhashyas, they are also full of logic. Okay, so Vedanta takes a lot. Most people think that all these six darshanas, they're like watertight compartments. It's not like that. It's not like that. They are very complementary. They help each other because these Nyaya fellows, Nyaya rishis, they worked so hard on that Nyaya and they came up with a certain methodology. So Vedanta says there's no need to reinvent the wheel. This Nyaya guys have done it, so let's take it from them. And what the Vaisheshika did, let's take it from them. So long as they are within the Vedic system, they took from everybody. You take from grammar. Shankaracharya talks about grammar also. There is even other Bhashyakaras. So it's they're all complementary, I would say. Slight terminology may be different little bit, but they are complementary. They help each other. They are like brothers in arms.
Right. Tumi's asking, does a Nyaya need to be something practical or can it be theoretical? And the example they use is Hanuman as an example of an immortal. There isn't a way to prove that he does or doesn't exist apart from the scriptures. Practical or theoretical?
There we take it as Shabda Pramana. I told you, verbal testimony. So there you have no other way of knowing whether Hanumana, not only Hanumana, there are other 7 also who are called Chiranjeevis. We don't know about them. So you just accept it because it's written in the Vedas, but we need an example. Until we see it, we'll not believe it. For example, heaven. Do you believe in heaven or hell? Heaven or hell? Most of us believe, but have we seen heaven or hell? We haven't seen, we don't know. But we talk about it because it's written in the Vedas, all right, in the Shabda Pramana. So maybe one day if I go to heaven or if I go to hell, I'll believe it. Until then, I'll be skeptical about it. I'll be agnostic about it. Yeah. So until it becomes your experience, don't believe it. That's what I'm saying. Even if it is said in the Vedas, they talk about so many things. They talk about devatas, they talk about Gandharvas, they talk about Patala Lokas, so many Lokas. Who knows where they are? Nobody knows. Okay, maybe they are there, and who knows, you may reach there. But until you reach there, you don't accept it. That's what I'm saying. Don't accept it. But what Vedanta, what this Vedic system promises, freedom from misery. That they promised, and here and now. Vedanta also says here and now. They are not saying after death you'll get moksha. Because who knows what happens after death, whether there's rebirth or not, who knows? Whether what will happen, who knows? Here and now. They say if you want, here and now, you can get moksha. It's not something that will happen, that will mature after your life, like some life insurance policy which your children will enjoy and not you. It's not like that. It's here and now. So that should be our main goal. All these Hanuman, all they may have been there, maybe they were imaginary. Who knows? We don't have any that kind of proof. As I said, Nyaya says you have to give an example. If you're talking about somebody like Hanumana, give me one example. Show me Hanumana, then I'll believe. Okay, yes, some are immortal.
Nearing the end of our webinar, one more question, maybe a few more. Are Maya and Nyaya connected in any way?
What? Maya and Nyaya?
Yeah.
Maya. They rhyme with each other. They rhyme, but yeah, but Maya is a you can say a concept which is logically answered. It's not just they say Maya is something. They give good reasons for you to follow, to believe in Maya. There are characteristics of Maya. Maya has many properties. They give you properties. They say Maya creates the world through three gunas: Sattva guna, Raja guna, and Tama guna, and it has two powers: the veiling power and distorting power. Maya fools us. It hides our true nature from us through the veiling. It creates a veil in front of us. And that veil is not a simple veil, it's a distorting veil. It also distorts what I'm seeing. That's why I'm not seeing the world properly. Correct? Even myself, I'm not seeing properly. So that's what Vedanta and Nyaya and Sankhya, they are saying. Listen, there is some problem with the eyes, you get your eyes checked. And okay, and get them corrected. Once you see the world properly, all your miseries will disappear. For example, the famous example, you may be in dark, you're going, you see a snake there, and you get scared. You don't know what to do. Should you cross or not? You are worried, worried for life. And then someone tells you, someone shows you, throws some light and says, hey, this is not a snake, this is just a rope. After that, will you be afraid to cross? Won't be, because you got true knowledge. So that's what they're saying. This world, all that, we are seeing it wrongly. That's why we are miserable or happy. Once you see its true nature, you will not be miserable. That's what they say.
A similar question, right? The knowledge gained through senses is a function of how well those senses work. If one of those senses is not fully functional, how does she validate the knowledge? And that's kind of what you just...
Thank you. I'm glad you asked these questions. Let me tell you, even if your senses are 100% perfect, even if your eyes are 100%, what is it called? 20 by 20 vision, or what is it called? So even if your vision is 20 by 20, even your ears are perfect, everything is perfect, senses necessarily mislead us. Without fail, you never see things as they are. Senses, that's why you should not rely on sensory knowledge. Senses always mislead you. Always, always, always. Not even once you'll get the true knowledge. Working knowledge you get, no doubt. Working knowledge is okay. With the sensory perception, I can manage to survive in this world. But what I see is not what I get. No, it's what I see is totally different. Now, uh, sensory knowledge. Now, for example, this, what is this color according to you? This paper, orange, correct?
Orange, saffron.
Now, what does science say? What does science say? I'm seeing this orange because this book, this paper is absorbing every other color except orange, right? And that orange is getting reflected to me. So I'm seeing it as orange, right? Is this right or not? That's what I studied long back in school. I think my memory is still fresh.
That's what I'm remembering as well.
So, so this book is anything else other than orange, because it's rejecting a color which I am seeing, but still I say the book is orange. So isn't it misleading? Isn't it misleading? This sense is always mislead. We see things which are there. For example, we don't see things which are there. For example, we don't see bacteria, we don't see atoms, we don't, but that doesn't mean they're not there, correct? And we see things which are not there also. We see things, we can photograph those things which are not there. You'll give the example of mirage, that you can, the mirage, the water is not there, but you can photograph it, you can liquor. But I'll give you another example. A thing that died, say, 10,000 years ago, I can see it even now. I do see it even now. Now let's say there is a star which is 1,000 light years away. All right, star which is 1,000 light years away. If that star dies now, tonight, suppose it dies, I'll continue to see it. I mean, we'll continue to see it for another 1,000 years. We can take photographs, we can do everything. So senses always mislead. Please don't rely on sensory perception. Always, always, always. And the problem is my intellect comes to conclusion through my senses. Whatever the senses give, according to that, it makes judgment. So the senses are themselves giving misleading knowledge to me, to my intellect. So how can my intellect come with the right judgment? Tell me. Oh, that's what senses.
Yeah,
Brenda
no,
wants.
thank you. Yeah, so let's have Brenda ask a question. Thank you for that last question on trusting your senses. Definitely, Dr.
Who
Demon.
asked that question? Who asked that question?
That was
Okay, never mind.
Ramji. Yeah, thank you, Ramji, for that.
Thank you for asking that question. That's why René Descartes, the French philosopher, you know, he came up with his philosophy, a school of system called rationalism. He said senses always mislead, so we'll not go through the senses, we'll believe only in the brain, what the brain says. But the problem is brain is dependent on the senses. Okay, Brenda.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have a question.
You had your hand up? Okay,
Oh,
great.
no.
Well,
Made a
thank you for
mistake.
joining us, Brenda. Glad that you're on with us. And I guess if you have a comment quickly. No?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I always love to hear Dr. Kuldip an old friend of mine, and he always amazes me with his good examples and his humor. So I always enjoy satsang with him.
Thank you, Brenda. Brenda is in Assisi now. She is conducting a, what is it called? What do you call it? What do you call it? Not resort, there's another name for it. It's
Retreat.
retreat. Yeah, retreat. So she's in that ancient town. It's a nice. I'm glad she took her time to attend this. And everybody, I thank everybody who attended. And I hope to see you in the class. And how will they know, Ankurji, how will they know about the the details? Will you be sending them an email or what?
Exactly. So everyone who registered will get an email with links and the details. I dropped them earlier in the chat. I'll put them in again. We'll do some follow-up calls. We have that poll. So if you didn't fill out the poll, please fill it out and we'll know who to follow up with. Almost, I think 14, 15 people said that they are interested in the course. That is great to hear. What a wonderful session. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Demon, some closing thoughts. It's always my pleasure to host you as well. And what a great interactive session that we had today. Dr. Demon, closing thoughts to you.
Closing thoughts would be, even if you don't join this course, I hope it has given you some idea about Indian logic, Vedic logic. And even if you don't want to join the course, there are, you can read books on it. Books are a little difficult to read, but then maybe there are some YouTube videos. You can watch them. And of course, if you join the course, that would be great, because once you do this course, it will be like a key to other courses. To understand other things will be easy for you. Okay, so that's all I have to say. So, thanks for joining. Thank you, Ankurji. Thanks
Everyone. See you next time for our webinar of the week.